What is up, everyone, and welcome back into another casted game of Age of Empires 4. Today, I am really excited for this game because both of these players are incredible. On the left side of the map, we're going to have VES Valdi play as the Byzantines, and on the right side of the map, we're going to be seeing LOL play as the French. Of course, LOL is Beastie. Both of these players are not only incredible at this game, but they're both incredible content creators as well. I've watched so many of Valdi's guides. It's absurd. He has helped me out with this game so much, and I absolutely adore watching Beastie on both YouTube and Twitch. I love hanging out in that Twitch chat. Such a funny content creator and so much fun to watch. VES Valdi on this side of the map, immediately getting that cistern network started. Also, 3 villagers on stone to keep expanding that cistern network. I wonder where the second one is going to go. This first one looks like it's boosting this food production and stone and gold production. Very well placed cistern there, while Beastie is moving out to gather deer immediately. And before everything really starts getting crazy in this game, I did want to take a moment for the community spotlight. And today's comment is going to be from Kawasaki, who says, "Great casting, so nice to listen to." And thank you so much, Kawasaki, for your support. I really appreciate it. And if anybody in the audience, you guys do enjoy these videos, please consider leaving a like or even a comment, because that does help me out with that YouTube algorithm a ton. Now, both of these players working on expanding their economies in the early game, as you do. Beastie moving out to this deer to help with that Royal Knight production. Moving out to deer as early as possible does allow the French to save their sheep for later in the game so that the villagers can gather sheep in safety. And also, if you want to be very daring, you can just send your Royal Knights out here to help protect these villagers on deer later in the game as well. Scouts moving their way around the map. Let's check the sheep distribution. It looks like VES Valdi does have one more sheep than Beastie at the moment, as Valdi is getting that third cistern online right now. So this is just going to help boost production of resources so much. Getting this cistern network up to level 3 is going to help the Byzantines a lot. And the Byzantines do get a huge bonus on berries for their olive oil production. It is required for those mercenaries, and I am curious what mercenaries Valdi is going to go with today. So a lot of players, what they do is they'll put a grand winery down, because the grand winery boosts food production, and they'll put it down on the berries so that you get boosted berry production. You have a lot of olive oil start spending whenever you get your mercenary camp down. I imagine the French player is going to go with the School of Cavalry. There it is right there. Immediately that School of Cavalry is coming through. We're also getting a wheelbarrow out from BC to help those villagers gather more resources. The French does have a boosted villager gather rate, so the economic bonus from the French civilization is going to be just that passive, boosting that villager production rate. And over here, that grand winery is going down exactly on top of those berries, and we're also getting a cistern, so we're getting a double boost over here. We're going to get the boost from the grand winery and the boost from the cistern on top of those berries, and so that is just going to be really fast food production over here for the Byzantines player, and I love it to see that. I do really love the Byzantines. I think they are such a fun civilization to play. School of Cavalry over here, gonna just produce a ton of knights. And where did that wolf even come from? BC immediately micros all of those villagers there to attack that wolf. Why didn't that wolf attack sooner? It just came out of nowhere. Scout is working its way around the map, and looks like Beastie does have one more sheep at the moment than VES Valdi. The scout checking out this grand winery over here, spotting the age up as a barracks is going down for the Byzantines player, and our Byzantines player has already gotten their sister network up to level 4. VES Valdi making sure to get that economy online as quickly as possible, and has built what almost looks like a beautiful perfect square. Not quite a perfect square, but it's so close. Byzantines player moving a few villages over to wood at the moment. I assume to get some military production buildings now. They did get enough stone in that early game to get that cistern network online, and Beastie doing a 9-7-5 split over here, beginning to get those villagers on wood as well. the scout being chased out by these early spear units from the Byzantines. These are unique spears with a little bit of a shield upgrade here. They are going to work on getting this scout out of the area, denying Beastie that vision at the moment. Not letting him see much, but I'm sure Beastie has already seen a lot. I wonder if Beastie has spotted his barracks here. Beastie has spotted the barracks, so I wonder if they're going to put an archery range down anytime soon. There it is immediately. There's that archery range right there. First knight of the game rolling out to run in and attack this berry bush, but there are already 3 spears here to defend as this grand winery is completed and VES Valdi does enter that feudal age. Mercenary house now going down as well. I do want to check and see what mercenary contract they are going to go with as soon as that is completed. These deers are almost depleted on this side of the map, so I assume BC is going to move out. And I think what VES Valdi might try to do is deny this deer production. Could potentially help Beastie amass a ton of units at the moment. Take a look at the spawns. It's like both players have access to a large gold vein on the back flanks of their bases, while also having that stone right inside both of their bases. Beastie is going for the boar. Immediately going for that boar to help a food production, to help amass those knights. Now the knights are gathering on the outside of Valdi's base. Now they're moving in to attack. It looks like an outpost actually got canceled right there and moved slightly farther out. Those outposts do come in as stone outposts for the Byzantines. Very, very nice passive there for the Byzantines player. These... Oh my god! Did BC lose a villager to the boar? No! How did BC lose a villager to the boar? I guess maybe it was the damage from that wolf earlier? I am not sure. Poor, poor villager died to the boar. That's so, so sad. And the French economy is going to just have that passive to get to their villagers faster with that boosted production. But I don't know how that's going to be able to compete with the cistern network over here from the Byzantines. These knights being chased out ultimately of the area by all of these unique spear units. Not able to catch any villagers yet at the moment. Nobody in this game has a villager killed just yet. And BC is just amassing both knights and archers. Those archers are going to work on countering those spears. Let's check and see what mercenary they went with. The javelin throwers. We are going to see javelin throwers today. Potentially could be very, very deadly against those archers. So, Valdi just immediately getting those javelin throwers to counter all of the archers that BC is creating at the moment. And I don't know if BC has spotted contract on that mercenary house. I don't think they're going to be able to tell until they actually see the units on the battlefield. A little damage here from the tower. I just realized I had the health bars set off for the thumbnail. Let me turn them back on really fast. All right, the health bars are back and the game is resumed, and now we can see everybody's health in this game. I do turn those off for the thumbnails and I forget to put them back on. Both players today going with one single TC at the moment. No player has gone for a second TC, and I think that's just because the French can produce villagers much faster, and the Byzantines can just boost their economy with all of these cisterns. Outposts going down over the gold production here to stir up that gold production, not let BC harass it too much. And I do just love Japanese spring biome. I've heard other people complain about the peak trees. I think they're gorgeous. I think this biome is absolutely beautiful. That scout does get chased down by all of those knights. That scout just perishes to that knight charge there. Unfortunate for that scout. And has BC gotten any more military buildings down? It looks like BC has gotten a second archery range and is getting those upgrades in as well from the blacksmith. We already have melee damage increase and ranged armor. BC does have 2 upgrades to those military units, while over here on this side of the Byzantines, we do not have those upgrades quite yet. The javelin throwers, I think, are being created at the moment. We might have some in this little pack over here. Nope, spears so far. Oh, there's one javelin thrower right there. So yes, we do have a few javelin throwers in the mix at the moment. The knights gathering outside Valdi's base. It looks like BC did place a scout here to get an alert in case that relic gets picked up. Those 4 villagers. Some of the more villagers look like they've been moved here over here on this side, and this is just going to be a brutal setup. Spears and javelin throwers are just going to mess up the French units at the moment, and that is just like a perfect comp to counter this French military. Very unfortunate for Beastie. It looks like VES Valdi has gotten super far ahead in military value as well. We're like 10 units ahead over here on the Byzantine side as a ton of villagers move out. I'm curious where these villagers are going. They're going to the berry bushes to increase that olive oil production, and this is just going to be really, really difficult to deal with for the French player. All of that boosted berry production is going to amass so many javelin throwers here that it's going to be an absolute problem for Beastie as the French. But we do have upgrades coming in for the French at a faster rate than the Byzantines. Byzantines did get their increased ranged armor, so these archers are going to be a little less effective at the moment. But ultimately, Beastie does still have more upgrades, and Beastie is also getting a lot of economic upgrades as well. As these militaries fight outside Beastie's base, the javelin throwers are going to work as counters to all of those archers, but if the knights run in, they're probably going to get chewed up by a lot of these spears as well. The archers and knights trying to punish this military for overextending, but those knights do take a lot of damage from that brace from the spears, and now the archers are doing some work on those spears, definitely getting a lot of good damage in on the Byzantine side. It's a quick little clash there. I don't think either player wants to dedicate to a full fight at the moment. They're trying to look for good trades for value, and those knights almost fully ran into all of those spears, but ultimately were pulled back at the last second. And now it looks like Beastie is getting a little bit surrounded at the moment. There's just so many spears and javelin throwers here that if anybody from that French military gets cut out, they just die immediately. That is just so much damage. Oh, and oh my goodness, several horsemen have made it into the base and are getting villager kills. VES Valdi has gotten 4 villager kills here with these horsemen, and they're just being... why is this knight not attacking the horsemen? This knight is right here, Beastie. Fisted it into the horsemen. It's so close. So 2 of those horsemen do ultimately die, but not before getting 4 villager kills. Very successful attack here for Valdi on the side of Beastie, taking down some of those villagers. And at the bottom, we can see that the French player is actually ahead about 2,000 in resources, so this is pretty surprising, especially with all of these boosts from the side of the Byzantine player. So many boosts, and they're at exactly the same amount of villagers. I guess Beastie was 4 villagers ahead before that attack, so maybe that's why they were ahead in... Oh my goodness, Beastie makes an incredible attack here on all of these villagers. So many villagers just fell before being chased out. Beastie was able to get 7 villagers. I don't know how I missed that notification there. That was 7 villager kills on those berry bushes to even up those economic trades there. That's gonna be a big problem for Valdi, who's now running more horsemen in to attack these villagers as well, but there is a knight back here to help defend, and ultimately that horseman does fall to the TC. And now so many knights are cut out for Beastie. I think Beastie was back at base fighting those horsemen, and Valdi was able to surround a ton of those knights, and that is a ton of value lost for Beastie. So such a good play there by Valdi after losing so many of their villagers to those knights, surrounded those knights with their spears, and did a ton of damage to punish that push. Now the archers trying to push these spears out of the area, trying to micro down units one at a time. The knights running in to try to get some kills on these javelin throwers, but they're going to run into the brace from those spears, ultimately pulled back as these archers are trying to do as much damage as possible to the spears, and the archers are doing wonderfully against those spears, just taking out so many of those spears. We can see all of the bodies of the spears on the battlefield here, and these units are just being microed back and forth perfectly. As every time the knights run in for a charge, all of those spears on the side of the Byzantines do brace, but the archers are dealing less damage to these javelin throwers than they were to the spears, and then anytime they go and attack those spears, the spears just instantly die here. Those archers doing wonders against those light armored infantry, but not doing incredible against those javelin throwers. Beastie pulling the army back a little bit here, dealing a lot of damage at the moment. Looks like Beastie is ahead about 10 units militarily and about 10 units in economy. 10 villagers ahead here, and still a solid 2,000 resources ahead for Beastie. Beastie has done an incredible job at working on those counters. We are getting the chivalry upgrade rolling in now to heal these knights passively over time, and let's check. It doesn't look like anybody's really going for Castle Age at the moment. We're about 15 minutes into the game, and both players are still dedicated to that feudal age push. Now, Baldi moving more villagers over here. Try and get on this berry production. Again, the berries do produce 50% of their food as olive oil, so it's so strong to get on these berries for the Byzantines player. That chivalry upgrade did just complete back here, so these knights are going to start healing. And it looks like one single knight got caught out here is going to get killed by some horsemen. Unfortunately, therefore, Beastie. And I think at the moment, it looks like Beastie is pretty far ahead, economically and militarily. We are going to have to see how it pans out in a full-fledged fight. This military moving over to attack all of these knights. Beastie has gotten the knights to a pretty strong number. We're looking at 15 knights on the side of the French. Now it's 14. And I just died. Unfortunate there. Javelin throwers were able to pick off that knight at range. And this scout is still back here just watching in case somebody goes for this relic. But nobody is in Castle Age at the moment. These archers holding back here in the defensive space. A guild hall going down for France. This is going to produce free units over time. And I assume Baldi is also saving up some resources over here as well for that Castle Age up. I don't know, but I assume we're going to see a Golden Horde tower go down over here. A market being built in the back of the base. While these horsemen are getting cleaned up, those horsemen were trying to burn down that house, but are ultimately going to fall. As Beastie is trying to make another attack, but Baldi's army is here, positioned perfectly well to not let Beastie move in and attack. Archers look like they're mobilizing now to go for an attack. We'll have to see. And Beastie is the first into Castle Age. Means they can start getting those upgrades. Immediately, the upgrade to veteran on the knights rolls in, and multiple horsemen up here at the top look like they might get a villager kill. They got split a little bit, but they are doing a lot of damage to all these villagers, and they are going to be able to clean up several villager kills here. Unfortunate for Beastie. Beastie moving all of these gold villagers that were in the back away from these horsemen as well, because they are not protected, while also moving in for a massive attack on these villagers on berries, successfully killing all these villagers on berries as well, except for the two in the outpost now. These units are trying to burn down this outpost to get these two villagers in here to punish this berry production and not let more olive oil be collected from this area at the moment. Golden Horde Tower is almost completed on this side as well. These archers working on picking off those spears so the knights have some room to attack. The TC firing arrows into that military for Beastie. Now this army backing up just a little bit after dealing a lot of damage. And as we can see, Beastie is up to 22 villager kills. He was using those archers to micro down those villagers, and that is a devastating attack. 22 villagers dead over here for Baldi, and that is just absolutely brutal. Unbelievable attack there from Beastie. Was able to clean up so many villager kills there. That's going to be hard to recover for Baldi, and Baldi does just call it, I think, because the villagers were so far behind there that was GG. Beastie wins.